Hello and welcome to Kerrie's message for May 2021. Boy, a lot of stuff is going on. If you hear the birds in the background, it's because I was guided to go outside and bring in that bird energy. And birds are wonderful to help us with bringing new air or flight, to be able to fly like a bird, see the big picture, like a hawk, where you go in, you see the bigness, you feel free, you ride the air currents. Because one thing that's consistent right now is there's a lot of foundational change that's happening in real time. And anybody that's new to me, I'd recommend for you to go to my other recordings, which I was speaking about the energy predictions, or the way I'm reading energy patterns that's happening throughout this year. And I don't want to get too down into the history, the details, when you can listen to that. But throughout the whole month of May, what we're going to be experiencing, again, this theme of real time and now, I'm going to be saying it throughout this message, is I just keep on witnessing people that are kind of shocked that this is feeling really real now and that it's in real time. And as we awaken to empowering ourselves and unplugging from the matrix and really getting some core strength throughout the month of May, it's going to allow us to really anchor in, because in June, in the middle of June in particular, I'm seeing these pathways open up starts in the center of the earth. Actually, it starts within us, our own heart energy. I talk about the quantum heart in the past recordings, quantum mind, quantum heart, quantum body. What I used to call it a long time ago was original blueprints. They're all the same words, the same messages that many people are getting right now as we are awakening and grounding that energy into our daily life. And now more than ever, we're going to notice where it's where we have some blocks, and it's not to stay in a holding pattern. It's allowing us amazing transformational opportunities. What I've been witnessing over the last couple of weeks in particular, as things become real in the now time, and now more than ever, it's time for us to get into an energy maintenance program. And my guide said a long time ago, there'll be a time, I was a very little girl, but Jesus, and my guide said that in my lifetime, in my later 50s right now, that energy maintenance will become mandatory. Well, we've entered that stage. Started opening up in 2018. Now, 2020, it was all about balance. And with all the lockdowns, we had a real good opportunity to see where our life has not been in balance, to get our head out of the sand and really understand that we are energetic beings. And most people walk around very staticky, like a radio station, depleting their life force, their creator life force. And what we can avoid, and what will be happening and is happening during this process right now, is that we are awakening to we are creators, and with every thought, word, and deed that we create. And most people, we have to go through the journey where we're creating unconsciously. Even the most woke people, they could still be having holding patterns that they're staying on and holding on to. And when you start working on an issue and start releasing major blocks, you can feel it and witness it in your life. We're going to the micro tubes, these little tubes that zap us. And what I was shown a long time ago is that pay attention to those small dots, because just because it's small doesn't mean it's not draining us, and it can be profoundly draining, right? Sometimes those bigger tubes where, let's say you're going through a divorce, a job change, some health crisis, money crisis, that's the obvious, and it could be draining us with worry and bringing up a lot of fear, worst fears, worst nightmares, that kind of stuff. Those micro tubes, when we start identifying them, clearing from them, unplugging from them, and transmuting that energy, you bring that energy circles back to now. I've been watching this system that's very much connected to our original blueprints, our quantum bodies, our homoluminous bodies, our energy fields, are awakening. Our soul is waking up. To keep it real simple, I'll always say different words because people understand it on different, a different word might get kind of activate you. And so we are having, let's say, easier access, and I'm keeping this really simple here, easier access to our soul, to our Akashic records, to our blueprints, to our homoluminous bodies is what the shaman called it. And the more we become homoluminous beings, it literally looks like we're glowing. When people used to draw saints in the back in the day and they had a halo around them, they were drawing the homoluminous bodies, right? And the saints would have that glow around them because they were consolidating their energy. They were tapping into a higher frequency energy and feeding themselves with it. And so many times I've seen and spoke about hydration, literal physical hydration, where most people are physically dehydrated, never mind on an energetic level, and energetically anorexic. So if we're not feeding our body temples and really start tapping into and accessing the energy that's all around us and available, we're going to just start feeling it more and more. It's just going to come up to our awareness. And this is good news, guys. This isn't, oh my God, this is horrible, horrible. Especially throughout the month of May and going back to June, the guides showed me in January that the earth is opening up these grids, portals, grids, whatever you want to call them. And it goes right to the center of the earth in a very simple image. Imagine a picture of earth. Imagine a heart in the center of it. And when we can align to the frequency of the Divine Mother and connect to it, we're in partnership to do this next stage of awakening our evolutionary process in partnership with her. And she's the greatest teacher, and she allows us to awakening and opening up these pathways so we can start bringing that energy in and developing a taste for it, an energetic taste for it. And in this process, we usually go through a process where we energetically taste that is toxic. Never more in my sessions, my private sessions, have I been almost gagging, to be honest, when I hit upon somebody and it's a major clearing of energetic bile. I'll get a bile taste in my mouth. When we hit an old record, I'll get this taste of ink in my mouth. And more than ever have I really got a taste of where we go through the cycle. And the first cycle we do is clear out those blocks, right? And within the blueprints, we're activating and having easier access if we are working with this energy and educating ourselves and integrating it into our daily lives. Very simply, it looks like a drainage system that drains out the old patterns. And this is multidimensional. If people aren't aware of that word, just think of that we know that there's trillions of cells on our physical body. Imagine that there's trillions of packets of information throughout our physical body and the rest of the energy field containing information, containing gifts, containing talents, containing high frequency energy, easier access to be able to break through the matrix, beyond the veil, and be able to hold that energy. This in our physical bodies, our temples, and our temples, our bodies are really getting an upgrade now. And so it looks to me when I go to the core, when I go to somebody's DNA, either in a private session or when I'm doing a class or when I'm reading what I call the earth grids, it brings me to the DNA levels where it looks like, imagine levers getting turned up, toot, 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 and a very simple message of us being able to take in that high frequency energy, the universal energy that runs through us, and it's all around us. So in June, as these earth grids are opening up more and more, that we're going to have easier access to help our bodies get on the original blueprints, the light bodies, the homoluminous bodies, right? And this is not an overnight process. It's going to get faster and faster for the rest of our life because our body develops an energetic taste for it. And so when you're just released a pattern, let's say the thought of being a victim or life is hard and a struggle, right? And you start unplugging from that thought of how you view life like that. all of a sudden it starts this process like dominoes, and it goes through the rest of the energy field, and it goes to the major themes, right? We all get connected to the 3 major themes that I've spoken about for years that block us. Right to life issues, and there's all these little categories underneath that: entitlement, worthy, victim, and fear of change, fear of annihilation, fear of death. And the biggest one that I've been talking about is over the last 2 years is what I call the fall energy. So that's anywhere, consciously or unconsciously, we are holding that we are disconnected from source, kicked out of the garden of heaven, disconnected, that we need, that we don't have easy access to this energy and information, and that information and energy is literally within your blueprints. Some people refer to the Akashic records. So as this energy is opening up through June, it's going to allow us, again, easier access if we get held in this holding pattern, let's say, and bring in that toxicity. The more and more we start tasting that toxicity, or it starts kind of like bombarding our thoughts, the more we could say, hey, wait a minute, this is a message that I keep on getting. This is a feeling that I keep on experiencing. What do? Deer in the headlights and throw up the flag and say, forget it, I'll do it next lifetime? No. This is where we are entering a stage where we can live many lifetimes in one lifetime. Many people are talking about timelines collapsing and all that. Totally agree. I'm here to keep things simple. I'm here to be your guide during this time of awakening. It's never too late for you to do this. It doesn't matter if you're 100 and something years old or if you're 5 years old. Our soul is a calling, right? We're hearing our soul's codes or our God's codes. We have access to this, and there's different techniques that you could do this, to connect to it, and you develop that taste for it. Part of the developing the taste and getting those drainage systems going, it starts draining, and then you start bringing in what looks like different minute to very big tubes that allow you access to this higher frequency energy. It's really an input-output kind of thing, and we are on a major upgrade with this throughout the whole month of May. And so what do you want to do throughout the month of May? You want to, first of all, be kind to yourself, be out with nature. Again, hear the birds, drink a lot of physical water, and also remember when you're getting into your energy maintenance program and you program it into your phone, so you're doing it before you get up, before you go to bed, and sometimes throughout the day, and it doesn't have to be long. It could be very short. I give a very simple technique where you put your hand over your heart, right between your breast, visualize yourself right between the physical spine and the spiritual spine, and that you're a little 1 inch to 2 inch energy, and you're consciously putting your intention into this part of your physical body. You see that energy starting to build up momentum, and then you bring it top of your head, bottom to your peritoneum, a light tube right in the center of the core of your physical body. Intend, see, feel, imagine that energy, that light moves throughout your physical body until it looks like the rays of the sun going out of the physical vessel. And then you extend it 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet. That technique could be so fast that you literally can close your eyes and do it in a matter of seconds. And that's opening up the drainage. That's aligning you to that higher frequency energy. And throughout May, again, especially when we get to the last couple of weeks of May, it looks like this holding pattern. And this is going to affect all of us personally in different departments, but it's also collectively. And this energy really started last June when I saw in June, literally the marriage contracts being ripped up, right? And the guide said that the marriage energy and codes that we're all plugged into, no matter where we are in the world, if it's arranged marriage or whatever, there's an energy pattern that goes with the marriage codes, right? Which affects relationships. Then affects all kind of relationships, including our relationship within ourselves, which when we start balancing that, it spills over to everything else around us. We're bringing a higher energy into it. Most people's relationships are anorexic or dehydrated or both, in that when we start bringing in the right tools to be able to balance it, that starts within ourselves first, it starts spilling over to relationships. And it's kind of fascinating that all of a sudden you're hearing about like the Gates getting divorced, or a lot of people I know are getting divorced. And I know they said in China, when people finally got out of their restriction period of 6 weeks, that thousands and thousands, I think 70,000 people ran to divorce lawyers the first couple of weeks because they were in that mandatory, strict lockdown where the issues came up to the surface. And if you don't have a solid foundation, it's just going to keep on coming up to you. And this isn't a finger wagging, you're doing so bad, you're not woke kind of talk. This is exciting, guys. This is an opportunity for us to do what we came down here to do. The only reason why we came down in this lifetime in particular is to experience this great awakening. We zip up into physical bodies and then we take the amnesia pill and we forget that we're all creators, that we're all the old angels having a human experience, and that we don't understand the language of our soul, of the angel language. That language is uniquely encoded in us, literally, and it's in our blueprints. I talk about these scrolls that look like these ancient scrolls that we have access to. We start unfolding them within our energy body. We don't have to know every single aspect of it, but when we start bringing that lubricant, that water, this energetic universal amniotic fluid that is available to all of us in this rebirthing process, it allows us to look at relationships. And going back to the marriage things that I saw in June, I've been guided, and the elders were talking about in different parts of our life. And we do life in 4 major things: our personal relationships, our job, career, home and family, and how we see and define ourselves. Those are the 4 major tubes that we're putting our life force in, right? And it's a square, right? Or you could look at it very simply, it's a square. Sometimes when our kids are younger, we do the home and family thing. We put more attention in that. When we're going into a career and we want to get ahead, blah, 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 we spend more energy into that. This is about symbolically getting into that center of that square, the center of the energetic room called life, and be able to put our roots down and to tap into a new awareness where our blinders are open. It blows open our intuition like you wouldn't believe. When we start getting fluid with this, it literally starts the crystallization, blocks within, I'm trying to say the word calluses. Sorry. The calluses, that solid energy that goes around the pineal gland, right? I've been watching this unfolding. And again, everyone's not having this pineal gland, which is connected to your intuition, and be able to look at life beyond the matrix and be able to really understand it. And when we understand it, I always say you can't unring the bell. You can't, you're truly woke, you know? It forever changes you because your view is different, and you don't want to go back because it feels so good, right? We feel soul supported. So throughout May, you want to be open to that feeling of soul support. Get into a good energy maintenance. Understand, as these marriage energies, it's also about relationships, and the primary relationships go back to us. And then touching upon marriage, I'm going to go do a whole class about this because I've been watching this fascinated for the last 25, 30 years. And now it's like in now time, real time. And so it will be affecting us regardless of where you are with relationships right now. A marriage to me doesn't have to be a marriage, paper and ring ceremony. It could be a commitment relationship. So this is very exciting news because that also affects our relationship with money, our relationship with our children, with our family. We are able to access and clear out generational patterns and the pain and that comes in with that. And then, guys, guess what? When we have enough of the drainage system with the holding patterns that are inherited consciously or unconsciously from the lineage, then we access the gifts. I was sharing my experience where I saw in my lineage, my great-grandmother on my mom's side, she was a teacher, literally, and she comes in for this teaching period, and I'm going to be doing more classes than I ever have. I'm going back to like 2006 to 9, where I did many, many classes, and then my life experiences changed. My kids needed me at a certain time, and so I changed to more personal readings, but now I'm going back into that teacher role, and on the right side, inherited on my dad's side, going back 7 generations, I saw the word scribe and writer, right? I literally wrote a book that I'm putting out there. It's already edited, but I think it might be 3 books in 1 book. So anyway, the Scribe's energy, I didn't have to go and see what this man did, where he was in his life, all the story, right? His gifts that he brings in is helping with Scribe, helping with writing, right? And it was perfect. I didn't even think about the book. Never mind that we are energetically writing our scripts with every thought, word, and deed, and how we're directing our life and how we see it. So throughout the month of May, you want to feel that soul-supported energy. You want to be kind with yourself. You want to set your phone, your alarm, make Post-its, notes about feeding your soul. Think energetic anorexic and energetic dehydrated is severely dehydrated. It kind of wakes you up, and just like hang an IV bag, it's not too late to start getting that energy fluid moving as we're going through this literal birthing process. We're going back to old ancient times. A lot of people are speaking of timelines, like I said before. And so encoded in the earth and with every single one of us is when the timelines of the energy of Jesus has been around, of Buddha, of many, many masters. That's imprints within the land. I was doing a session the other day, and a guy was in the hospital for some severe medical stuff, and he was showing me he was in a coma, but his energy body was talking loud and clear about how much the hospital he was in was a major COVID center in that state, and there was a lot of death and dying. And one of the nurses said to the wife, "I've never in my life thought that I would be unzipping many body bags and ever in my life." And she's traumatized by it. So then, as we're clearing his energy and supporting him during his health process, we also wanted to clear the environment, because we absorb this whether we realize it or not. There's so many shows out with the ghost hunting shows, and so they talk about share the stories of imprints that are left, the energy patterns that are left, either physical person or just the imprint of grief and pain and all that. So as we are going through this drainage system, awakening throughout May of transforming and consolidating our energy and really creating this energetic armor so we can navigate through life. And when life experiences happen to us, we don't get blindsided. Because last January, the elders, my guides team, showed me that it was the weekend of the George Floyd weekend, to be honest. And they started showing me this energy where it looked like Noah's Ark. And they said there's going to be a shift throughout the world that's going to affect everybody of biblical proportions, right? And I saw this polar shift where I've been speaking about my last different podcasts or recordings of us, the electromagnetic part of us. When we start getting that electrical part, most people have too much static and it blocks out their intuition, their ability to manifest anything from a job to money to health to a relationship. Our tubes are clogged, right? So there's a real big Drano going in for us, available to all of us, right? Sorry, I had to drink some water. So, kind of lost train of thought because I live so much in the now. So, original blueprints. We're going back to this. We have, again, access to this. Some people refer to Akashic Records. Our interconnectedness has been the theme. When I started the God Codes program 1 year ago to this month, I think, or maybe it was March, the major thing we're going through of all is one, how we're all interconnected, profoundly connected, and that the universal truths that are encoded in the land and with us, and that as we are connecting and tapping in and drawing upon the universal laws that created the earth, it created ourselves, it created the universe, and start applying those in our life. This goes beyond reason. It goes beyond religion. It goes beyond politics. It goes beyond male, feminine. even though the energy that's coming around has a lot of feminine energy, the amniotic fluid, birth, rebirthing process, and it is the rise of the divine feminine to get it back into balance, but it's not male bashing. We all have male and feminine energy within ourselves. So it's affecting everything down to the codes of our relationship, down to the buildings that we're on that holds an energy of grief and pain. And it also could hold like a, when I worked in labor and delivery, it was such an energy of most of the time of, even though people could be going through excruciating pain in labor, there was the energy of life there. And so that's what we're doing. We're doing life transforming things. Not kidding about many lifetimes in one lifetime. People are living a lot longer than they ever have before. And so we don't have to drop our physical body to get our life lessons and our experience. And as we become more activated within our body temples, we'll be able to experience it more. And it's very simple. It's living in the fifth dimensional energy, going beyond the matrix, awakening and connecting to your Akashic records, your soul blueprints, your God blueprints, all the same pathways for the same sort of energy. So that's supporting us. And in June, I'm going to get deeper into it weekly as I see that unfolding. Going back to the George Floyd, I saw this energy where the guide said that we're going to be flooded. It was very gold, right? And yellow gold. And they were showing me that it was really allowing us to affect mental and physical body where we hold emotional trauma in our body, in our energetic skin. The whole thing was about getting comfortable in our energetic skin. There's 3 layers of the energetic skin, in that most of the layers in between them are dried out, and so we don't have this armor that we have available that is part of our blueprints. And it is just fascinating to just witness where they went down to that weekend in particular, circled it on my calendar, and sometimes they'll give dates, and it's kind of like, I call it like the loose outline, right? And so potentials change, and as we awaken to what creators we are, things that look like a direct line of that person's going to get married happily ever after, then all of a sudden it's like an about face, and they didn't get rid of their wandering ways or whatever, and they break up. It's changing. Potentials are changing a lot more, and reading the future is you have to read it in the now time, and you have to be flexible enough to know that you are creating things. So we're just at the beginning of this in some ways, but it's also encoded us that this is the way we're hardwired down to our DNA. So this is exciting news. And the energy that started last May at this time was allowing humanity to look and go beyond the pain body. 99.99% of us, when we start grounding into our body to be able to use it as a vehicle, that it houses our soul, it's our body temple, and be able to really be at the realm and the driver's seat of how we're directing this and have access to that. And then it creates a drainage system and the incoming, outputting. And it was allowing a huge step for us if we're able to get out of the charged energy, but also brought up to the surface where things have been off balanced, right? And again, I'm getting away from beyond any kind of the political realm. When you start looking at stuff from the heaven and the 5th dimensional energy to the 12th, there's no labels there. It's energy patterns and symbols and colors and vibration. And you could go down further and you could start seeing a division of where it could be played out. But we want to bring in that high energy that then creates a bridge. This is the bridging time. I spoke about that many times. I've seen more rainbow bridges in people's energy field. And this is not the gay flag rainbow. This is the rainbow that the shamans have been talking about for eons and eons. A time in our life, awakening. This is in real time now. People are experiencing it more than ever. And even those people that are no energy and they're well versed in this and they've read it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I still get calls every day about how much it's still affecting them in a way where they could feel blindsided, right? And so this is just having that awareness. It's not putting our ostrich head in the sand. It's about saying, all right, I am the creator. I'm at the driver's seat. I'm going to start a good practice. I'm going to get out of that energetic dehydration, anorexia, start feeding my soul, surrounding myself with people that lift me up instead of bring me down, we start developing a taste for it, and then watch your life change. It cannot not work. This is how we're hardwired down to our DNA, and this is very exciting. So that was a message that was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Some of the classes I have coming up at the end of May, starting like, what is this? Like the 17th, 24th. I'm going to be sending Lisa, my wonderful Lisa, who, by the way, does amazing social media. If anybody needs that, you could email me. She does all forms of, she's creative. She does soup to nuts when it comes to that. But the first class I'm doing, so anybody that's out there that's a beginner or needs a refresher as far as the energy maintenance, it's the ABEs workshop, and it's energy awareness and becoming the creator, empowerment, energy awareness brings balance, the ABEs. And so this class I've done before. I created it in 2006. My guides have said brought it back because so many people are hungry for the taste of getting to know what the energy body is. And I'm not going to bombard you with the deep dive of what this chakra means in this. This is an awareness, but you're also going to get tools, and through this class, a personal reading of how that's unique to you that's going to help you solidify the tools. I'm also doing an advanced version of this, right? And this is called Awakening Your Divine Empowerment, is the loose label right now. And this goes a little bit deeper, where it does talk about the 12th chakra system and the different energy bodies, the physical, mental, emotional, the different archetypal energy that affects us. So this is a little bit more advanced it's a lot more advanced, to be honest. And this does, again, have a personal reading connect to these. And I am, as I said, starting these at the end of May. And I'm deciding how many. It might be a 4-week course because that creates new neural pathways. If you're going to, let's say, stop a habit like smoking or weight loss, they said that first 4 weeks is where you're creating new physical neural pathways in your brain. So I'm just got confirmation. It's going to be a 4-week class. You can get the classes separately. I'll write a brief description of what's going to be taught that night. So there's a beginner for those that are new and hungry for that information, and also advanced one. And then we're going to get into in June the God Codes program and in the weaving programs, but we'll get more information with that later. And we do have the intuitive circles that are every 2 weeks on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7:30. I'm also starting another intuitive group. These are limited classes, so everyone gets a practice to read, and we limit it to 10 people. Yeah, 10 people. Yeah. I'm going to start one during the afternoons. I think it's going to be on a Monday from 2 to 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. For those of you that are in Europe, and God bless you, you're staying up to 12 o'clock at night, talk about energy maintenance and feeding their soul, you know. Several of these people are from Europe, and it's 6 hours ahead. So I'm going to offer that, and for people that work night shift and stuff like that. So information like that will be coming out shortly. So for upcoming events, check out website kerrieoconnor.com. The email is kerrieoconnor111111@gmail.com. You could set up personal appointments on my website through Calendly, and you get the Zoom link and all that kind of stuff. If you have any issues, you could just email kerrieoconnor.com. So I want to say that May is a wonderful transformational month, and think of it, we're going to wrap it up like this. May 1st, May Day, May Day, May Day. And I hear this every May. And actually, it's the day Stuart Wilde died, so I want to honor him. He went into the other realms to work with us now. Hi, Stuart. Or May Day, as in go around the Mayflower Bowl, right? So we want to realize we will have days that will be May Days. I lost a brother-in-law. I lost several people the last couple of weeks. And dealing with elderly parents. And so it doesn't mean we won't have experiences like how we're going to hold them so we could transform them and we don't get in a holding pattern. And we're in this together. Now more than ever, we want to band together and help empower and lift each other up. This is a bridging time. It's not about separation. And anybody that's doing that separation pattern, there's no foundation anymore. These are the universal laws that are ingrained in us in the separation time. As ran its course, it ran a good one, and now we're going back to wholeness. So use that energy of May, of transformation, dance around those maypoles and connect. And may you align with the divine. Bye-bye.